Hi guys, to learn C++ is very easy. I'm going to start a tutorial on C++ called Jump into C++. First of all, what you're going to require before you can start learning C++ is a compiler, which is this Dev C++. Is one of the compiler I'm using. Then you need a computer before you can do that. I know everyone needs a computer, so it's very silly to say you need a computer in programming. So now, to download a Dev C++, the easy link is you go to sonic.com and type Broadsheet Dev C++, and this window will come up. Click on free download and you download it, because Broadsheet is always secure in downloading applications to me. So I'll go to Windows application, then search through Windows application if you come to this way. So now we are going to jump straight on writing programs. So this is my Dev C++. I'll prefer you having Dev C++, and if you want to follow this tutorial, don't miss any chapter. Try to create a folder on your system. Here my folder is called C++ video lessons. So now, to be a good C++ writer, you must be good in using different libraries to form a particular program. So I'm going to teach you how you can use this particular library we call isostream, input and output. There must be an input, there must be an output. That makes it a complete program. And a complete program is a program that have an input, process that input, then output it. That is the function of the computer. So a function, there is a library in C++ called the isostream. The isostream. This library contains a function that make the user to enter input to the computer, and a function that can make it output input to the user. So now, to include this isostream, we need a preprocessor called the include preprocessor. This preprocessor we add every file here before the program runs, so that's why we're using it. So we use the preprocessor to add it and put the less than and the greater than sign. The less than and the greater than sign here is actually telling the compiler this is a standard library. You should go to the include folder to get it. So now, if we have it already, what we just need to do is to define our main function. Our main function is that function that the execution of the program starts from. As in the compiler, we look for this main function before you start executing. So we need a main function, a make function. This is the main function we need. This main function, when you run your program, the first thing that will happen is the compiler will now look for the main function to start running anything that is in the main function. From the main function, you can call different functions. That's how your program is. The entry point of every program is the main function in C++. So you'll be wondering that I saw different main function with argument. I saw some function differently because C++ have different prototype of main function. So we have another main function called AIMN, maybe mostly what you are using, and a pointer to a car, argument array pointer to a car. So this function is the way you are using random argument, and to get the name of the window or the program or the address of the program, you can use this. But this is good if you're using these. So actually, it's either you use this or you use this. But for now, we're going to use the first one. Then if you're writing a window program, is like Windows 32 program, then you will need another main function called the Win API main win main. So this function, we have almost 4 arguments called the first one, and you have another argument called the pre-instance. Then you have another argument lpst long pointer to a string, then an integer argument, and we call this int command, sometimes command show. That means when you put one on that, your program will show up. If you put your window will show up. If you say no, this argument is what the Windows API needed to function mostly. That's why you see it like this. So we come to that when we come to window programming after learning the basic of C++. But I want to tell you that there are these three main functions commonly used in C++. I can still use this same to write normal window normal applications. But remember this Win API function will only work in Windows operating system. I don't know of any, but I believe it's going to be working in Windows operating system because we are actually using Windows API. So now, what are we going to do is we're going to eliminate the last two, and we're going to use this first main function. The first traditional principle in writing any program is to output the word hello world to the console. That actually shows that you have write your first program and you are now a programmer. So you're not to be called a programmer because you've actually write your first program. So what we're going to do, we need to one function to do that. The function that will actually output this message to the console in C++ is mostly called the count. This is the function, the count, and this function uses this instruction uh, um, less than to output the string. So if we say hello world, this is the word, but we still need another argument to break the line so that the line will break. Okay, these days will bring an error because it deals. If we run it like this, it's going to bring an error. It's not going to run. But if you want me to test it, I'm going to test it for you to say, because that is the name. If I run it now, you will see there's going to be an error because it will say the error state count on declare, and that means end line on declare, because in this isostream library there is a next space called std. That std is actually grouping the function together. So without you calling the std, he will never actually know the function to call. So we need to call the std, then to scope two columns, button, and the name. The same to these two. So now the function actually know what is happening now. So if we run it, it's not going to be an error, but you're going to see a flash screen. Check. But he said the cursor flashing. That is one thing with Dave. Dave wanted to handle everything yourself, because immediately as the program run today's way and terminate, actually we didn't put the return integer, because this is an integer main function. So this an integer is actually saying that the main function is going to return an integer value. So most people use to put 0, which to say return nothing to the computer. So if you run this, you're going to see the window to flash again. Yeah, that means when the program detects the main function and it executes this, the cursor will come up. Then when it comes to this, the cursor will disappear because the program has actually ended. So start, you create the cursor, and at the same time you destroy it. You create the cursor, at the same time you destroy it. That is actually what is happening. So the cursor will be created in this main function. Immediately as this main function is terminated here. So we want to actually pause this cursor. That is why you need an external function. We call it the system function. There are many functions you can actually use to hold the cursor. But now I'm going to use a system function to hold the cursor. A system function. This system function you can execute. You can put any command that can actually go in on the command prompt. That is your DOS environment. So in the DOS environment, there's what we call pause. So this pause command is going to pause the cursor for me, so I will see my output. So this is what will happen now. So this is the hello world. Press any key to continue. This press any key to continue is actually the command we execute, which is the system pause. So if you think this pause any key to continue, if you see try it in your console environment, you will, in your DOS environment, you will see the same output. So let's go to our DOS environment by typing command prompt. So this is our command prompt. If you click on the DOS environment and let me click and you say pause, you see what will happen. Press any key to continue. So that is what I'm actually, you can execute any command here and C++ by the head of the system pause. So that is it. That is our hello world program in C++. But instead of you not using this std count, std, and you might say, okay, let me just expose this namespace and say using namespace std. So you can actually remove this now, because anytime this program call, he will look that is there anything called the std. The std is not public. So okay, this function is located in the std. This function is located in the std. So it's actually very easy to write your program, your first program in C++. So if you run it again, hello world, no error and nothing, because you are actually using it. This is your first program. Now you can call yourself a programmer. In the next tutorial, I'm going to teach you what are variables and how you can declare variables in C++. Thank you for listening.